Welcome to AAC Parent Training, Alternative and Augmentative Communication in 5 minutes or less. My name is Sarah Bass. I am a speech pathologist as well as an assistive technology professional for Southwest Cook County Cooperative. This next video will focus on language acquisition through motor planning, part 2. To activate closed captions on this video, click the CC button at the bottom of your screen. So now we're going to start walking through LAMP. It can be very overwhelming, but it also can be very powerful. So what I'm going to do is take you on a walkthrough of each row. I'm not going to point out every word that we see, though I will give a little bit of time on each screen so you can see some of the possibilities that are there. So I'm going to start with row 2, and we're going to cover most of the white squares. So we'll start with where it says where. Now that we touch that button, you see we have the conjugation there in the verb row. We have our changes with our orange nouns as well as our blue superlatives. We get some green buttons that give us some extra verbs that we can use. The top, you notice, has changed to some nouns. In the left, on that top row where it says clothing with the G cut off, that is going to be a category that can expand. When we see something with all capital letters, that means it can go to another screen. Okay, so we touched clothing and we have things for all seasons, from our gloves in the winter, the raincoat in the spring, to our swimsuit in the summer. There is space to add more things. They're spaced out like this because that helps kids get a little more visual room for perception. You do find that there are more clothing things that you want to add in. You can do that on this page. For example, you might want to add in the word hijab if that's something that's relevant to your student. Next, we're going to be checking out the tab that says am. Preverb, it's got a little life preserver, as well as a B there in the center. When we touch that, we have our verb, we have our superlatives, we have our adverbs. So to check those out, notice they have busy because you can be as busy as a bee. Look here at the bottom, we have a nice play on words, would. It's a homophone. It pretty much sounds the same to an ear, but here we're giving a visual representation of something that's a pretty abstract concept with that conditional language. Moving right along that row, we're going to go to the square that says please with the fireworks over the buildings. This is going to be our interjections or exclamations. So here we get things that we say that stand alone, every thing from oops to yuck. Next is that with our determiners. We have our magician with his little magic wand pointing to, I'm going to cast a spell on that. Here we have some things that point out the word that they're talking about, such as these, each, this. Start to notice some of the pictures and see how they might relate to the word that has been put up there. For example, on the bottom row, if we have a drink, I have had enough. Totally congratulate Schoolhouse Rocks on learning about conjunctions. We have the two train cars coming together, and that's why when we come in here, we get some sequencing words, first, next, last, very important for learning literature. And on the left side, we have some of those math words because math is associating different numbers and concepts you can use. And some of these are not things that we might be expecting out of your child, especially because of their age. Things like although. It's not something even I use on a daily basis, but it's nice to know that there's access to that word and access to that concept. Next, we have the button with the bridge and the nice prepositions. This is super important because you can describe, but it also helps students to give directions. And this page pretty much stars our friend Smoo. We have all of these different pictures of him being in different positions, and some pictures that are just illustrated in different ways. In the middle of the top row, you'll see the word that I brought up earlier, along. There's a frog hopping along. I have no clue how else to picture this, and that is not something that would have occurred to me either. But we have that word available so that a student can grow. Next, we're coming up on question words. This is a simple one. It's got a question mark on the button. We come in there, we get the different question words that we would expect, as well as conjugating the verb ask. And we're going to wrap that up for our row. I will be addressing adverbs in another training video. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please reach out to your speech language pathologist. And remember that cooperative members have access to my services as well.